Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to TARTLEcast. Can your mic arm not
Oh, yeah. We put them too close together.
always rubbing up?
Our mic arms love each other.
They're always rubbing elbows.
Yeah. It's great. They gaslight each other. What's the actual technological term of gaslighting?
You mean technical term?
Yeah, we should look that up. I want to
Gaslighting is like, well, it's better to just give an example because definitions don't work for people.
Because we're making jokes before.
Oh, stay here. Continue to work at the company. We got big things coming for you.
There's nothing
we're
coming.
Gonna give you fucking jack. Gaslighting.
Yeah, so that happens all the time.
That happens all the time. And
I
people
know,
are like, yeah, I'm loyal.
Because
No.
I know that like people are talking about it in relationships where it's like,
I'm going to do better. I'm going to do better.
Yeah,
Gaslighter.
Yeah.
Just gaslighting. I can see the guy walking around just eating the thing.
So let me ask you this.
Ask me whatever you want.
So let's get into a little economics, and I want people to understand why TARTLE is so important for the future, especially with what's happening. So when we speak of the Federal Reserve and gaslighting, 1971.
It'll bounce back. It'll bounce back.
They're like, oh, no, it's a 1-for-1 exchange. The fiat currency is 1-for-1 gold.
Then
It's like, what, 10 for 1?
Yeah,
then they're like, well, 1971, they're like, we'll just take it off the gold standard. We don't need that.
Who is Bretton Woods?
So then next thing you know, guess what's happening? They're just
print.
They're gaslighting us.
They called GD. It's a German manufacturing company that builds the printing machines to print money. Got a couple of those puppies shipped over. And they're like, we got to print.
We're going. We
got so much debt. There's only one way to get rid of it. Print more money.
So whenever we look at, and I want to go back to 2008, because I want to start like a little bit of a history, a preface, and then kind of go into the marketplace and why TARTLE is so important, and then data and what's going to be happening. So 2008, we had low interest rates. And they're keeping them low on purpose. There's a reason for that. We have more debt than we've ever had. Mm-hmm. But in 2008, we had fragility of the system. Mm-hmm. So all of this kind of came to play.
C's go to B's, B's go to A's. They all fall.
Exactly. So
collateralized debt obligations.
Yeah. So even now, when you get into derivatives and stuff like that, and looking at debt and holding debt, like they just raised the debt ceiling. I mean, this is for us in the United States here. We're talking, but we'll get into the world economic side of things, because I mean, every country you look at, whether it's,
Japan.
Whether it's Venezuela, their money is worth nothing now. Yeah, they can print as much as they want. It doesn't matter. It's not even worth the.
In the 30s, Germany, their money was worth nothing.
Yeah.
Some countries in Africa, absolutely nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then you see, El Salvador, they just based it off the Bitcoin. Yeah. So that could turn into like a great thing, because he's already, it depends on, that's kind of risky to me.
Well, that means I've just taken my entire economy of my nation and I have now completely pegged it against whatever the hedge funds want to do with the currency.
Yes. Yeah.
Genius.
which is
They're
what's happening right now.
They're going to manipulate that in a hot second.
Which is how they got all. What people don't realize with Bitcoin, and when it goes up and down and fluctuates around, there's only
121 million.
21 million. Yeah. So if you're a billionaire or multi-billionaire,
you can buy as much as you can.
You can buy as much as you can, and then manipulate the market, and then they get profits at the end of the year.
In theory, Bitcoin's fantastic.
Yes.
In theory.
It's immutable.
Here's the problem. The only people who can get it are the ones that already have money.
Yes.
So the whole decentralized idea is not going to work with it. Someone needs to create a currency, cough, cough.
Yes.
That people can actually earn through work.
Yes, yeah, and we've talked about that
a million times,
multiple times.
Yeah,
but I mean, and I think we have YouTube episodes on it.
We do. So there's a date timestamp. Set it here first. On the TARTLEcast.
But I mean, even and not to get into Bitcoin, but when you look at like now, companies are adding it to their balance sheets. So that can mess up your profit loss statements.
Not directly,
like
but
that,
indirectly.
But yes,
they're like, I don't want to actually physically hold the asset, but I want to. Someone who has it in like an ETF or whatever portfolio they're doing with it, I want to own a part of their portfolio. Yeah, so I mean, I think you're gonna, like you said, I mean, the wealthy will be holding it. I'm pretty sure it's gonna go up. I would imagine, because as long as it's valued and there's only so many of them. Are you kidding me? It's the easiest way to scam a system again. Just keep driving the price. Just call your friends. Be like, oh, it's worth way more. It's worth way more.
It's worth $250,000.
That's literally what
it is. Let's go, everyone.
Do you know? Can I share something?
Yes.
Harvard University, their business school, holds a little group thing at their strategic center where they invite the largest CEOs, like Fortune 10, maybe Fortune 50, and they all come and have lunch together. There's no rules. You think they're not talking about what's going on? Oh, we should do this.
Davos.
Yo, listen.
Bilderberg.
Here's the whole thing with the group here.
Yes.
Finance all of time, for all of time, has been based solely off of information.
Yes.
Whoever has the information will be the leader. Whoever gets the information first can move first.
Yes.
Everybody else is just a lagger.
And the faster you move nowadays, the quicker.
That's why I got the light speed training. How quickly can we ingest a 10K, have our algorithms analyze it instantly, and then make the trade off of it? They're only looking for keywords. Yes. Only looking for key numbers.
Yes, yeah.
You know? Wow, that debt to equity ratio is wrong. Short it.
So what do you think when you look at debt and it being so big, and then you look at us printing money, what does the future look like when you add those two things? I mean, you can only do this for so long.
Well, how many Band-Aids can you throw on a body that's just bleeding everywhere? You know what I mean? You only have so many Band-Aids, and you only have so much space to keep putting Band-Aids on top of like blood. The blood leaves eventually.
Right.
There's only a strict supply. Here's how this works. Debt, okay? Once you exceed a natural asset base, for instance, just, like farming, you only have so much arable land, right?
Yes.
Once you exceed that and you continue to stress the system, just put more debt on top of it, it will cripple in the end. Your farm soil, you will eradicate that.
Yes.
And then in the future, you have nothing.
Yes.
You have a collapse of your agricultural system. That's why monocropping doesn't work.
Yes,
so why do you think if it doesn't work with monocropping, it's not going to work with your debt strategy? Okay? Any sort of quantitative easing you choose to do, ultra low interest rates or negative interest rates, increased printing, those things only cripple those systems. You only make them more fragile.
Yeah, and in Austrian economics, which we like, they call this, and I love these two words, creative destruction.
That's what it is. So economists will be like, I have an idea I got to solve. Let's just print more money. Why? Because the people of the United States have entrusted us to do so. We need to keep the economy afloat. So we figured the best way to do it is to just drive ourselves down a hole that we can't dig out of.
Well, what people don't realize is printing of the money and everything that's going on now. We actually learned this from Japan.
Of course.
So in the 1980s, they had an aging population. They were trying to manage crisis, and they had a super centralized controlled banks.
Yeah.
And so they were like, hey, well, how can we do this? And they started quantitative easing.
Well, you know why?
It's not stimulating.
It's those two. It's one point you said and another one you missed. They age. They live a long time in Japan. It's like one of those blue zones, right? Here's the other thing. They're so good at saving money.
Yes.
The Japanese people were like, oh, you just want to put more money out there? Great. We're just going to continue to save it. It doesn't actually help the economy because they're not spending it.
We're not good with saving money here in the United States.
No, we're the opposite.
So capitalism creates this. And I was listening to, and this was really interesting. So from 1971, there's a chart that shows from 1920 to now.
Yes.
And in 1971, this chart dramatically shot up.
I love your
charts. And it's the word and the thought and the ideas of zombies. So
what?
Yeah, of zombies. Just zombies of itself. But it's funny how it correlates with, because whenever you're going into mass amounts of debts, printing mass amounts of money, there's this, and then you have capitalism on top of it, which I'm for capitalism, not against it.
Yeah.
When it's done properly, I think, and there's morals and ethics. And
okay,
stuff like
Ayn Rand, relax.
But I mean,
okay, Alfred H. Hayek.
No, but I mean, when you look at this, it creates zombies in the sense of there's no saving of the future. It's all about the here, the now, the quick. Don't think about the future. Spend, go in debt.
Yeah.
Why do you think most Americans are so much in debt?
Right. They're not concerned.
They're just following the economic system that's out there.
They're total sleepwalkers. They're zombies.
And we're encouraging people to get mortgages, which we talked about that.
You need to get a house, which is owned by the bank.
You need to have 2 cars, which puts you at $100,000 of debt. You have a house, which puts you at $400,000 of debt.
Yeah.
People have $500,000 or more in debt.
It's gross.
You 5 or 6
You'll never
credit
get
cards.
out of that.
Yeah. Student loans. Look how much.
That's a scam.
Yeah, here's another. This is another creative destruction.
Yeah, why do people need to pay to be educated? Scam.
Well, and that's why I'm still hopeful for humanity in the sense, not just for TARTLE, and we'll talk about how TARTLE solves this here soon, but even more than that is when we have these systems in place and we have, and I'm going to use this, and I think this is right, decentralized creativity.
Love that.
That's why I like NFTs, because as funny as they sound, it's decentralized creativity.
Well, that's because
there's not a
Sotheby's doesn't have to show up and say, "Oh, this is the value." No. It's what everybody else perceives as value.
Sony Records doesn't have to go to the musician. The musician just goes straight out to the people.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm hopeful for that. When the more decentralized creativity hits, the more you have people working, which is where TARTLE plays in all of this.
Do you know what it boils down to, Jason?
What?
It's a respect of people's idea. It's a respect of the provenance of thought, of creativity, where it comes from. You have to respect that.
Right.
If you don't, we're not going to get anywhere. People will just continue to abuse one another. This is a natural occurrence in our economic system and society because of how much abuse that's gone through.
Yeah.
These systems were designed because people have been abused and used for so many years. And this aspect, this outlet of technology, has afforded individuals sovereignty over things that they truly should have been sovereign over in the first place.
Well, you don't realize that. People don't realize the abuse. Great word.
Thank you.
You're being taken advantage of, and you're being abused by this, because when you add interest, when you look at the interest rate and you look at inflation, right now, it's all a lie.
How stupid, bro? Listen, what if I wanted to give you a loan? If I don't have licensing from the state and I don't have all these other things in place, I'll never be able to do it. So guess what? Only rich people can lend out money. Scam.
Well, also when you have, they said that they changed the formula for inflation. So actually, if you went back to the 1980s formula, the real one, we're at 13-14% right now. That's awesome. So when you have high inflation, things are worth less. The money's worth less.
That means every hour you work,
you're getting paid less.
You're getting paid less, and everything you buy is more expensive.
So that stock, so let's say you want to buy a stock, an asset. That Google stock that was $80 is now $340. There's a reason for that. Why is everything more expensive?
Socially and politically, things are become a pressure cooker. Because the economic system which we all wrap ourselves up in, which we need to function, frankly, because people don't farm. We're not all responsible for building our own homes anymore. We have to transmute energy into something else, which is that capital. But when that energy gets compressed, physics, what's going to happen? If I compress energy and compress, kaboom, bang. That's what's going to happen. It's natural occurrence. It may. The gravity may be so strong it'll implode on itself. And do you know a sun when it dies grows, shrinks, and totally collapses in? Maybe it's a neutron star. Maybe it just flips into a black hole. That's what'll happen. We'll crush ourselves because of these poor systems we have designed.
So if we don't fuck ourselves over with the climate,
oh gosh,
because we have 40 to 70 years on that. But I'm pretty hopeful. I'm pretty hopeful in that. And I think with the work of TARTLE and what we'll be doing, that we can solve that problem.
Absolutely.
And but solving the economic problem with TARTLE, let's close in this, and we'll have a part 2 of this. Because I only got to a quarter of our notes, what I figured would happen. How does TARTLE's free marketplace solve this problem with these governments, these centralized banks taking from you?
Great. They have a monopoly on arbitrage. Not only do they get to write the rules, they also get to create those disparities in pricing, disparity in value, or displacement, whatever you want to be, from one thing to the other. Why? Because they have the information you don't. So with TARTLE, when people are incentivized to share information, we've already leveled a whole notch of that playing field. Now people are sharing information back and forth. Things aren't hidden anymore. Someone can't have some sort of strategic advantage of information over the other. It's no longer that cheap crap monopoly game of economics that you've been playing. And then at the same time, when you increase economic opportunity for these individuals through sharing, now you're stimulating economies. Now people can open up their own microeconomies, micro businesses, regardless of where the place may be, regardless of how impoverished they were before. Now there's real opportunity. Why? Because they're sharing. So not only are we increasing the amount of information that's flowing, we're also increasing economic opportunity at the same time. And through that understanding, we can understand the other. You have a decrease in violence. Violence through finance, violence through misunderstanding. You can understand how you affect the population, right? Understand how you affect the planet. Understand how you affect the rising sea levels. You can see those things now because we are incentivized to share and bring that information together.
I love that you said that because violence comes from, people don't realize that. It comes from economic policy.
Absolutely.
Wars come from economic policy.
Why do you think the Rothschilds funded both sides of the Civil War?
Yeah, exactly.
They don't care who wins or loses.
Right.
They know they're getting paid.
Yes.
That policy hasn't changed. It never will change.
No.
Okay? The only way we can do that is by affording people opportunity of finance, right? And information for them to make their own choice.
And it's all based off of this one purity, and I'm going to use that word, the purity of work.
It's just work. And it's fair and appropriate compensation for work.
So if they're willing to put some work in,
yep,
and they want to get paid, how would somebody do that?
Go to TARTLE.co, sign up, start working.